Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk to you about a lecture I did and about a young person whom was asking me whether to start investing for retirement. Okay, let me put it this way. I was asking him to put away some money for retirement, and he said, well, I don't have any money for to be able to put away for retirement because I have other goals. Then I suddenly felt that how can you convert your rupees into very powerful amounts for your retirement? The best thing to do is to start early. I think the advantage of starting early is underplayed, because if you start investing in your 20s, $1 or 1 rupee invested in your 20s is about equivalent to at least 10 by the time you are in your 60s, right? So 40 years of compounding is what you get. So don't look at 1 rupee of the money that you invest at 22 as the same as 1 rupee which you invest when you're 55. There is a huge difference, because this money will grow. So there is something called time value of money. So if you are an MBA student, you have definitely done this. So understand the time value of money. So it does not matter how much money you can invest when you're 22. It is a question of how much time. So you're talking of 40 years. So 1 for 40, even if you multiply just by 40, so 1 is 40. And if you invest at 55, it is that 1 for 5 years, right? There is a huge difference between the two. So when you are young, when you're 21, 22, 23 years of age, you're doing your MBA, you finished your MBA, it is worthwhile putting away some money. That is the title of this book saying, right? Invest rupees 40 a day. Just start. Why 40 rupees? Because when I wrote the book, the dollar was 40. Now the dollar is 80, I mean, approximately. So maybe you should invest 80 rupees a day, 2,500 rupees a month. It's not going to be very difficult. Everybody can do it. In fact, if you are feeling philanthropic enough, that is the kind of money that you can put away for your servant or your driver. I know one person who is putting away 2,500 per month for 8 of his workers, 8 of his domestic help. He's got drivers, maids, all that, etc. So he's putting away just that money just in SIPs for those people as their retirement fund. He's so inspired by retirement. Of course, he's a rich guy. There's no doubt about that. But the willingness to give has got nothing to do with being rich. Having said that, I also spoke to a bunch of college students, and I was not very happy with the kind of questions. Don't ask me, agla quarter mein kya hone wala hai? You're 22 years of age, you're investing for the next 38 years. How does it matter what happens in the next 90 days? Will steel do well or will technology do well? Honest to God, very few of us have answers for all that. Those who have are managing 50,000 crores, right? Those who don't have are making videos and telling you what to do. So don't bother asking such questions, because these questions don't really matter. Then a question of, should I invest directly in equities or should I invest in mutual funds? Depends on what you really want to do. If it is your job to track companies, then your job will not allow you to invest. It's a funny situation, because if you are working in a mutual fund, immaterial where you are working, if you are reporting to the CEO, then far more restrictions. But if you are working lower down also, there are a lot of restrictions. For example, 2 fund houses don't allow you to invest in SIPs of other fund houses. So typically, if you are in the trading room, obviously you cannot create your own portfolio. So those who know can't, and those who don't know do, right? So it is very advantageous to say, oh, I've got an account here and I'm trading. The question is, even trading is fine, but trading requires far, far greater time and knowledge and ability than investing. Investing is simple. You just buy some shares and hold on, or you invest in a mutual fund and you say, okay, he will do whatever he wants to do. But when you are trading, you have to be far more alert. Life as a trader is very, very difficult. I'm not joking. I know some trader who trades in commodities, and I know his personal life is a mess. I mean, his wife has not left him, but he sleeps in a separate room because there is a television which is on almost 24/7. There are 2 laptops on 24/7. He has got 3 phones always on charge. He deals in commodities in Japan, he deals in commodities in US, in the Gulf, and you know, all that. So can you imagine, he deals in gold and sometimes maybe oil futures also. These markets are awake 24/7, so therefore he deals with them. He's about 50 years of age and a mess of a life, right? Because you just can't live. Every day is working day. Why would you want to have a lifestyle like that? And that is what a real trader is. If you are just saying, oh, today I heard that Tata Motors is a good buy, so I will buy, I will sell it off tomorrow, you're a time pass, you're not trader. Don't fool yourself into believing you're trading. Yes, some of these technology apps have made it very simple, made it look very easy. It's not so easy. You are providing liquidity to the investor. Thank you, welcome, we love you. But you will not make money. The house will make money, right? Whatever they're charging you, whatever is the minimum charge, they will make money, not you. Be careful. It's not a part-time thing. It's a full-time job of being a trader, right? Having said that, investing is not so difficult as we make it out to be, unnecessarily. I somehow love this Chinese saying which says, it takes a complicated mind to think of simple things. So think of simple things. If you are young, start investing. You don't know where to invest in an index fund. Then start learning about investing. Then you may realize that you want to put in a large and mid cap fund, something in a small cap fund, something in a, you know, any of these funds, or something in a sectoral fund, something in a international asset allocation fund, whatever it is. First learn. Invest in an index fund to start with when you do not know anything. I believe ICICI Prudential Index Fund is cheaper than the UTI Index Fund. I used to recommend the UTI Index Fund. Go and do a check with the index fund with the least cost. Very likely to have the least tracking error. So look at for the least tracking error. So any index fund, could be Sensex or Nifty, doesn't matter. That's where you start your life. It's the dal chawal. After that, you can slowly add funds or companies. If you are going to add one company a year, you will end up with 30 companies by the time you're 60, and that is more than sufficient. You don't need to do that more than that, right? You may have bought something, you may have sold, you may have changed your mind, that's fine, but that is enough. That don't do anything more than that, provided you're willing to put in enough effort to shortlist 5 companies and choose 1 or 2. Understand that starting early is important, power of compounding is important, ability to sit tight in turbulent markets is important. So if you are like a saint and if you can sit calmly, you don't even need to do asset allocation. You can just go put all your money in equity, saying for 40 years I don't need this money and I will be able to sit through the fluctuations. I can do it now. That is simply because of experience. So I don't honestly need asset allocation. I don't really care a damn what happens if the market falls, if the debt is more attractive. So this is another problem with watching television or YouTube channels. When you see a Ramdev Agarwal or a Ridham Desai or a Rakesh Jhunjhunwala or a Ramesh Damani or any of these people bullish about the market, these 4 hours, 5 hours, whomever I named, they are always bullish about the markets. Please understand, they are in the business of being bullish. They are here, they are collecting AUMs, they are managing money, and their money management is there for a lot of them. That is their business, even if not their main business. Understand also, when your net worth is 40,000 crores, what you eat, what you live, what EMI, you don't pay EMIs, you don't have any of those things. You only have personal charity and personal day-to-day living. That has nothing to do with the net worth. So your net worth can be 40,000 crores, come down to 20,000 crores, go up to 60,000 crores. That has nothing to do with how your life is moving. But if you are hoping that there will be an appreciation in your portfolio, which you will withdraw one day in a lump sum to repay your housing loan or buy a bigger house or buy a bigger car or take a vacation, you are doing goal-based investing, very, very, very different from what these people are doing. Don't look at it. They don't need asset allocation. I remember telling people, when you have a 10 crore or even a even more than that, maybe a 50 crore dividend income. You have 5 crore per month salary. You have an annual bonus of 50 crores. What are we talking about? They don't need asset allocation. You need asset allocation, because we are talking of 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs net worth. Your mind will fluctuate. You will happily put money in an equity fund in a bull market and remove money from a bull market at the end of a bear market, or at the worst thing that you could do, right? You will invest at the peak of a bull market and exit at the bottom of a bear market. You will do these things. You will make those mistakes. Don't compare yourself to these people. These people are completely different. You cannot copy. You cannot invest like Buffett. You cannot invest like Mukesh Ambani. I'm sure you've seen these memes saying, oh, they had a problem, so they just bought Just Dial, right? They are very different. Mukesh Ambani spending 700 crores on his daughter's wedding is his own money, right? An auto rickshaw driver borrowing 6 lakhs for his sister's wedding, I just spoke to an auto rickshaw driver who has done that, is very different. Please don't pick up some YouTube video and say, oh, he said that and she said that. They are in a completely different business from you. They live a completely different life from you. You can't copy them. They can sit calm. You're talking of Rakesh. Rakesh must have started investing in 1980 or maybe 81. So you're talking of about 40 years of investing experience, and of course a successful investor. They're different from you. Don't think you can copy a Buffett or a Rakesh or a Mukesh. You can't. They are very different. They live a different life. They are in a different business. They have a reason to say something. You don't have those reasons to say it, right? So relax. Don't think you can copy those people, but you can do simple things. You can start early. You can increase investments. There is this beautiful concept called a step up SIP. So every year you step up by a small amount. You can do that. You can stick to your asset allocation, especially if you have shorter goals. If you have goals within the next 3 years, 4 years, it's a fantastic time to remove some money from equity and put it into debt instruments and remove it after 3 years, right? Even if you require money after 4 years, it's a great time to be removing some part of it, right? You require 100 rupees after 4 years, you remove 70 rupees, that's good enough, it will grow to 100. And out of that 70, even if you want to remove 80, that's good enough, because it will surely become 100. And out of, or you say, okay, I will remove 40 and that will grow to maybe 70, 80, and the balance I will remove from equity. Anything is possible. But you cannot be 100% in equity for a goal which is 3 years away or 4 years away. And if you're 100% in equity with all your assets, at least some money can be put away into some debt fund, so that after 3-4 years you can use it. As long as you do these basics, you're better off. Don't try copying anybody. It doesn't work. Thank you.